All right, it's a new day, new week 5 of college football action. Brad, we're back for yet another Brad Powers release show here on the Hit the Books channel. So if you are watching right now and you haven't hit like already or you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so before you go any further. And before we get into a recap of last week's games and get into this week's games, I want to remind everybody this show right here is sponsored by BetStamp. BetStamp is the easiest way to improve as a sports bettor because it allows you to use multiple sports books and always get the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to help you with your sports betting. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. So make sure to download the app today. If you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/hitthebooks. You can also click the link in the description here. It does help support the show. So, Brad, one-on-one this weekend. We go to 2-2 on the season. We see the San Jose State pick that was given at 3.5. We saw some resistance. Goes against us, closed out at 6.5. Then we obviously see them. They're winning outright after the first half. You go into the second, you lose 28-0 in the second, losing 45-20 in the game. What happened there? Can you talk us through a little bit of the market resistance? Why did that happen? Why do you think that happened? And what ended up happening in the results of the game?
Yeah, regardless of the result, I mean, it was a horrific pick. I struggled to think I could give anybody out a worse pick this entire season. Let's hope that's the case. But, there was multiple market influencers that disagreed with that stance on San Jose State. They liked Air Force, and we saw the money pile up on that one. What we have seen in the marketplace this year on some of these isolated weeknight games, we've seen some significant line moves where it's tough totally identifying everyone that's behind those moves on some, low-level games. But obviously I was way wrong on that one. Looked good early when it was 20-10. I had a smirk on my face, to be honest with you, because there's been a couple times the market's gone against me and I've been right this year. But there's no excuse for that one. I mean, the whole point of this show obviously is to get you winners, but more importantly, get you closing line value. And the fact that the line moved against me 3 points is, to be perfectly frank, embarrassing.
Well, as Delee23 here says in the chat, SJSU never happened. New week. I mean, in terms of moving forward, we will be doing that, but you can track all the picks that are given out on the show for transparency purposes. They are always there for people to go back and look at, and you can find that in the BetStamp app as Hit the Book, so make sure to go over there, follow us on that. But, Brad, the second game that was given out, we take South Carolina -5, closed at -6. They beat Mississippi State 37-30, so that's the second game of the weekend. Is that kind of just how you anticipated things to move throughout the course of the week after the Monday show?
You know what? I thought it did touch 7. There was some resistance there on Mississippi State. I'm wondering if it was resistance on Mississippi State or the fact that there was, an expectation of some weather in the game. And the total came down quite a bit. And usually what happens in that situation is you see money coming against the favorite, because if there's going to be lower scoring or at least some suppressed scoring, who's doing the majority of that scoring? The favorite. So I think some of it was that. So, my expectation was, while we still got some closing line value and we had a winner there, I was expecting it to close 7.
All right, well, let's get into the picks for this week. 2-2 on the season. We go 1-1 this past week. So week 5 college football picks here. We got into them. As always, I'll lead people in, tell you where to go, and then Brad will give you the pick as we get into that. Before we get into these picks here, again, just a final reminder, make sure to subscribe here to the Hit the Books HQ YouTube channel. You can find us every Monday and Friday afternoon with Brad Powers and Joey Knish here at 5 p.m. and every Tuesday at 4 p.m. with Douglas Farmer and Parker Fleming. So you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. You won't miss a second of those shows. Brad, let's go to the first game here. We're looking rotation number 171, California, 3 p.m. What is the pick that we're looking at here?
Yeah, we're going to take California. Game number 172, 3 p.m. Eastern kick time. We're going to lay the 10.5 here with California. I made the number 13.5, touching almost 14 in this game. So what am I seeing? 2 fronts. Number one, we'll talk about the bet we're making, the team at least, California. A couple of games that I thought were, the final score was relatively misleading. They're 2 losses, that being one against Auburn, a game that they should have won outright. I'm wondering what this line is had that result happen. They had a field goal kicker miss 3 field goals in the game, but they lost by 4. And then last week, you look at the final and you see a blowout loss against a really good Washington team. That one, you dive in the box score misleading. In fact, Washington started the game with 2 non-offensive touchdowns to jump out to an early lead. So a couple of misleading finals there for Cal creating some value. And then it's a play against Arizona State. I know they showed out well last week against USC. I'm not sure how serious USC took that game, considering how banged up Arizona State was. So kudos for Arizona State for that. But the market has really hated this Arizona State team. It's only covered 1 game this whole entire season. So let's go ahead and lay the 10.5. And again, this is good all the way up to 13.
Okay, so there you go. We lock in first play here on the show this morning. We're taking Cal minus 10.5. That's the 3 p.m. game against Arizona State there. Rotation number 171, 172 there. So, Brad, we'll go to the second pick. We're looking at 6:30 p.m. time slot. Rotation number 173. What is the pick? What is the game that you're looking at?
Yeah, you don't have to go too far down the board. We're going to take Oregon minus 26 here. So it's not always ideal laying this kind of number of points as far as on the road, but you got to ask yourself this. Number one, 26 is a pretty off-market number as far as secondary number. Is it going up or is it going down? Because you don't see a lot of lines close 26. I think it goes up for a multitude of reasons. Number one, you got an Oregon team that's covered every point spread so far this season, and they've done so by an average of 13 points per game. So you have that in your favor. Number two, the market does not like the Stanford team, and I'm questioning how much Stanford has left in the gas tank after they gave up 2 really good efforts, at least 2 close games, each of their last 2 home games. They took advantage of an Arizona team last week that had a banged-up quarterback situation in the second half. So while they've looked okay, I just wonder how much they got against an Oregon team that's, whenever you have a 26-point road favorite, what is the motivation for margin? You got an Oregon team that's off a blowout win against Colorado. Pretty high-profile game. I don't like how they finished. I'm sure the coaches don't. They only scored 7 points in the second half of that game. And I also look ahead because you're thinking, do they got a look-ahead spot? They have a bye on deck. So, again, because I anticipate this line closing 28, you get in front of a market move here. And because of the factors I just said, let's go ahead and lay the 26 here with Oregon on the road.
All right, there you go. There are the 2 picks, the 2 official picks for today's show. If you do want to see them, track them throughout the week, see where they move if you didn't get in on them, or if you want to see our records for this year, you can go over to the BetStamp app. You can find that in the App Store. You could find that online as well. Make sure to check out Hit the Books HQ. You can see our record for the entire season, CLV, our ROI, and you can see the picks that we make throughout the course of the week. So there's both picks for today locked in. We got Cal minus 10.5 as well as Oregon minus 26 there. So make sure to go check that out. Follow us on there. Brad, I appreciate it as always. Pistol Pete, I'm sure, appreciates it as well. He says being awake 32 hours in a row just for this show. Well, Brad, as you always recommend to people there, you can subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and then you don't have to stay awake for 32 hours in a row. You just get notified when it's going live. You can wake up and won't miss a second of the show. But appreciate everyone who came out this morning to watch. Brad, appreciate everything you do. We'll see you back here on this Hit the Books channel, 5 p.m. this afternoon. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. We'll see you guys then.